Hey guys, got a little something nice for you. I know this is what everybody loves, and I think you can tell what I'm about to talk about. I'll do this one first. So, gas masks, what everybody loves, including me. Alright, so before I get into what I have here, I'm going to just address something. And it's not like a serious thing, but it's the fact that in recent years, the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer than that, gas masks have become kind of a cult thing. Not even just for functionality use, but for an aesthetic thing. You can see it online. There's huge photo galleries, there's accounts that people make online just for things stylized around gas masks. And for the most part, I'm all for that, because gas masks are pretty cool and badass. But in terms of functionality, there isn't actually that much out there that I've found that's useful for a lot of people. So hopefully that this is kind of a balance. I know there's a lot of reviews already on YouTube, and this is just kind of heading to that sea of detritus that's already out there. So, kind of, I'm just adding to it, but with my own spin. So what I have here is a Cold War era Soviet PBF gas mask. It was worn both by soldiers and officers. The lenses are, I think, 45 millimeters wide, which is pretty small, but at the same time they're not angled, because it was meant for soldiers that would be looking down optics of weapons so they'd have a better line of sight. Granted, it isn't a great line of sight, and the peripheral vision's incredibly limited on these. Now, this particular gas mask I bought in 2009 for a Halloween costume, and it served myself pretty well just for that. Not functionality or anything, it was just a purely aesthetic thing for a costume. And that worked. Everyone liked it. But for one thing, it's a pain to get the filters in. I don't know if you can really see, but you have to pin them kind of on either side of where your cheeks would be, and there's sort of plastic tabs that you have to pull around and get them in there. Very, very difficult. And if you had filters that were in packages and you wanted to use this in a quote-unquote practical use, you'd probably be dead before you could get them in. It isn't like a lot of the newer NATO counterparts that have the cans on either side that you can just screw on. With a lot of Warsaw packed gas masks, they're all internal cheeks, which is great in terms of compactness and not having a lot of unbalanced weight on either side of the face, but at the same time, your filters would never make it into the gas mask before something happened, a sort of life or death situation. There's very little time to get these in. And the filters do not last long at all. They're meant to last, I think, 7 days in these, and that's under, not entirely adverse conditions. They're supposed to be nuclear, biological, and chemical resistant, but I find that kind of skeptical, considering, the quality of most of the equipment from that part of the world, unfortunately. And over here, I have another Warsaw packed gas mask. The Czech one, which is the M10, and it has a lot of the same, some similarities in design. You've got the internal cheek filters, you've got the voice transmitter out front, just so you can actually hear what a person is saying. I do like this just because it has much bigger lenses, so you don't have as much of a peripheral block as you do with this one. But still a pain to get filters in, like I said with this one. If you're trying to rush to get filters in from a new packaged filters, you're probably not going to make it. And what I learned pretty recently is sometimes these ones, maybe it could be all the time. The filters have chromium, but it's also kind of toxic to inhale. So it's kind of a I don't know, balance between, oh, I want to save my life for a couple of days, but for those couple of days I might also be inhaling something that's not great for me either. So it isn't something you'd be wearing long term, which I guess kind of makes sense. Also, I've read that possibly these ones have asbestos, and I've also heard that they don't. So I don't know. It's hard to say. And, the sea of answers out there online. There's one that can't really, not sure what to trust sometimes. I don't know what to believe. This was another one, same model, just a white version of the Soviet PBF. It's got an interesting stain on it though. It might be just from age or storage, wherever it was being stored. This one I ordered from the Ukraine. I think this one I got from a surplus store domestically. Both were for costumes though, but I still think they're cool. Practically, no. Definitely wouldn't use them for anything other than aesthetics. That's the thing. They're cheap, which is why people buy them. You can get the Soviet PBFs for around $40. You can get the Czech M10s for about, I think, $20 probably. I think when I originally got this in 2009, it's a little more expensive. One, because I shipped it from the Ukraine. Two, there weren't as many out there. When I posted a couple pictures of this online when I first got it, a lot of people hadn't seen people wearing them over in the United States. And I mean, that's just my small group of people that I know, but nowadays you see a lot more people with reviews about them and pictures and all that jazz. And kind of to finalize my little thesis about these types of gas masks from ex-Soviet bloc countries, the Warsaw Pact, things like that, they're not very good. They never were very good. They're not very good today, especially. Most of the filters you're going to find aren't very useful. They might even be hazardous, and it's basically, do you want to spend more money for something that's going to work, or spend a lot less for something that probably won't do a lot of good? I mean, if you want to get something like I think it's the Avon FM12, and there's a couple other designations for the one that I am thinking of. What is it? Oh, the S10 or the SF10, which is the one you see a lot of people wear, and it's more commonly seen online, but you could probably spend anywhere from $200 to $300 for a very good quality one. I think those are British originally. There's a Canadian equivalent which is cheaper, which I think is the C3 and C4 models. Those are very good. But those also have cans on the side. And the cans are pretty expensive, but they work. As long as you're buying them new, sealed, they have a good shelf life and they have a good amount of life when you're actually using them. But it's, how much money do you want to spend? And it's kind of where a lot of people kind of stop and say, well, this is a good deal. Yeah, I understand that, but it's not going to do a lot of good when you actually have to use it. Now, I've heard that the newer Russian gas mask, which I think is the GP7VM, is supposed to be pretty good and comparable to the NATO counterparts that you can get today. Also, there's the Israeli M10 and a couple other good adult-sized Israeli gas masks that are decent and only around $100, and maybe even cheaper depending on where you look. I think I've seen that model on Cheaper Than Dirt for $60, which is very, very good, and I'll probably pick it up. So there are some alternatives that actually work, but I like these just because they're fun, they look cool, but I'm not gonna put my life in the hands of these guys. They're just around for oops and giggles, and that's about it. So I don't want to carry on anymore. But yeah, hope this was kind of helpful and entertaining at the same time to see my kind of minor collection. And throughout this video, I've integrated some pictures of myself with a couple of these here and there, and you can kind of see where they look cool, but at the same time, like I said, not very practical. So guys, catch you later. Alright, bye.